There are three main benefits to investing your money in real estate. Number one is you can get consistent cash flow. Number two is you're investing your money into a hard asset. And number three is you get tax breaks. Now, starting with the cash flow, when I invest my money in real estate, I'm looking for a 7% cash on cash return on my money. That means if I invest $1 into real estate, I want 7 cents of cash flow every single year. If I invest $1,000 into real estate, I want $70 a year. And if I invest $100,000, I want $7,000 worth of cash flow year after year after year. When I invest in real estate, I don't care about the upside potential. That's not what I'm looking at. When I invest in real estate, I'm looking at the cash flow because the upside potential is speculative. It's me hoping that I'm going to be able to sell my real estate for a profit. I don't know what's going to happen in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. So instead of me trying to predict what the value of my real estate will be, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to calculate how much cash flow I'm going to get, because that cash flow is much easier to calculate versus how much I'm going to be able to sell this property for in 3 years or 10 years. It's a much harder prediction. I don't really care if housing prices fall or if real estate prices fall, because what I'm looking for is the cash flow that I'm going to get. And I'm going to put in certain parameters. That way, even if I'm wrong in my cash flow, I'm still going to be profitable. So what I'm looking for is a 7% cash on cash return. Now, the second benefit is you get to own a hard asset. And the best way to kind of demonstrate that is to compare it to the stock market. If you go and invest in, say, the Amazon Corporation, you're investing in a paper asset. You don't own anything physical, nothing tangible. And if Amazon sees their stock crash, well, now you could see your value drop in half almost overnight, because you can see these huge swings in stock market valuations very quickly, because the stock market is liquid and it can be very emotional. With the housing market or with real estate, it's a little bit different. You can still see swings up and down, but you're not going to see real estate prices get cut in half in 24 hours like you could see in the stock market, because, well, to sell a real estate property, whether it's a house, an office building, an apartment complex, whatever, it could take months, if not a year, to sell a building. So it's a hard asset, which has pros and cons, but the pro of a hard asset is you own something that you can see, feel, and touch. You own the land, you own the bricks, you own the windows, you own something that you can see, as opposed to with the stock market, you own a piece of paper which says you own a piece of a company. The third benefit of investing in real estate is you get tax breaks. Now, as an attorney, I can tell you, who's not your attorney, that real estate has some of the biggest and best tax breaks that our tax code has to offer. Because now what it allows you to do is you can generate income from your real estate properties, but you could potentially claim a loss on taxes. And this is what you see many real estate investors do, is you make a profit and you have cash in the bank, but on taxes, you can show a loss. Why? Because of the way that the different deductions work with real estate. You can, for one, depreciate the value of your building on your taxes. Essentially what that means is you get to make a profit. Say you made $10,000 in profit this year from your real estate investment. But then you get to tell the IRS, hey, I made $10,000 worth of profit. However, my building is 1 year older. And because my building is 1 year older, I deserve a tax write-off. Now, your building could be more valuable. Your building could be worth more now than a year ago, but you still get to take this tax write-off because your building is 1 year older. This allows now investors to say, I made $10,000, but I have $0 worth of tax liability. The amount of money that you can actually write off is going to depend on the actual value of the building. The bigger the value of the building, the more you can write off. The smaller the value of the building, the smaller your write-off will be. This is where you want to make sure you have a good accountant on your team, but it's going to take more work, because now you're going to have an accountant, you got to have an attorney, you got to have a broker, you got to have a banker, you got to have a contractor, you got to work with the city, you got to have a title company. There's a lot of different people that you're going to have to work with, but you get three benefits. You get the cash flow, you get owning a hard asset, and you get the tax breaks of investing your money in real estate, because, well, real estate has some of the best tax breaks that is out there. Now, the couple of the biggest downfalls with real estate is it takes more money and the amount of work that it takes to actually invest in real estate. There are some workarounds on the money side. If you say, I don't have a lot of money to invest in real estate, well, you could do something like creative financing, where now you're working with the seller to get money in addition to potentially the bank. But I would caution you here that you don't want to over leverage on your real estate. I know some people pitch this whole idea of going 100% into debt to buy a property. I don't recommend that, because if you're over levered on real estate and you don't know how to manage the property, or if real estate prices go down and a bank forces you to sell and you're underwater, well, now you're stuck. And if that happens, which happens all the time, now you might be forced to sell the property for a huge loss, and then the banks can come after you for that loss. And in those situations where that property is sold for a big loss, I have been able to come in and buy many properties at a discount because somebody who didn't know what they were doing, maybe they listened to some real estate guru talking about why you should buy a property with zero money down and doing all these risky things. It can work. It works for a few percent of people, but for the majority of people, they will end up failing. But in that situation, then you end up selling it at a huge loss, and then somebody like me comes in and buys it at a huge discount. So this is where, if you're investing in real estate, yes, it does take money, period. Like, you can't kind of work around that. But if you don't have the money, then you can work to get the money, whether it be through creative financing, or you can get other investors. If you know wealthy people, or if you don't know wealthy people, you can go to a real estate investing conference, because every real estate investing conference around the country, they happen in pretty much every state, you always have investors that are looking for money to do some sort of real estate deal. So if you don't have the money, you can get the money from other people, get this investment. Or the last option is you can be a passive investor in real estate. And this is a little bit more tricky than in the stock market, but with technology, it's become much more accessible, where now you invest your money into a real estate fund, and now you let the fund manager go out and invest your money. Now, there's a lot of different ways to do this. The kind of traditional way was going to a real estate investor meeting and finding one of these investors or developers who is looking to build or buy a project, and then you can invest some money. Now you own a piece of the building. You don't get to tell them what to do, but you get a piece of the profits. So if they're collecting rents and they're making a profit, you get your piece of the profits. If they refinance out and they make a big profit, they'll give you some of the cash. Or if they sell it for a big profit, they give you the profit. Is it risk-free? No, of course not. Every investment has risks. You're never guaranteed to make money when you invest. You might even lose money, which is why you should always do your own due diligence and never blindly trust a random guy on YouTube. But it gives you the opportunity now of investing way less money and also being completely passive, so you don't have to worry about headaches. There's also apps on the internet. I have some that I have used, again, in the description. It's an affiliate company of mine, where now you can invest as little as, I don't know, a couple $100s into these funds, and now you can get exposure to real estate. Same thing, are you guaranteed to make money? No, but it's a way for you to get exposure to real estate and make money in a different way without having to actually manage the property yourself. If you enjoyed this short clip from my longer videos, here's another clip that I think you'll love. And while you're at it, if you're interested in learning more about how to start generating passive income, our team put together an amazing guide on how to start generating passive income for free. All you gotta do is click that button right over there. Thank you for watching, and as always, keep hustling.